Ha ha ha, wrong week for my haircut, so you're here. Good morning. Oh, that's cool, Andy. Well, welcome in. Can you hear me okay? I pushed a button on my microphone here to see if I could get less noise sound cancellation, but I don't know if I muted it or not. Let me know if it's an A-OK that you can hear me just fine. All right, well, of course, you guys know that this is physical and financial fitness with Patrick, and so we talk about getting our best physical shape and best financial shape we can possibly be in. What up, Bray? Um, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I'm just going to call you Bray. But good morning. Good morning. Good morning. You know, we talk about physical and financial fitness here, so we're going to talk about financial fitness today while we get physically fit. We're doing back and biceps. We're going to get some bicep pump, see if we can get these arms cooking. Good morning, Dexter. We got a pull day today. Get some bicep pump and try to get these arms looking better. And always because we want to work our chest and we want to work the front of our body. Everybody wants to have their abs show up and all that stuff. But we forget that the back is the opposite side of that. So if we're always working the front, never working the back, create good bad posture and create problems physically, actually. So we got to work both sides, right? Left, right, front, back. So today we're doing some back, some biceps, and guess what? We're just going to straight up talk about notes because really, honestly, I'm thinking there's nothing else to talk about. I've been looking at all these crazy investment opportunities lately. When you're in my business, you get presented all sorts of crazy things. Good opportunities, people with great plans. Some are going to be really successful. And I'm looking at all these adventures that people are inviting me into, and I'm thinking, I'll just buy another note because you can't compare to the stability, the cash flow, the collateral, the potential upside, and what we do in the mortgage note investing business is boring. I hate to say that it's a good boring, right? But what we do in the note investing business is boring. Uh, you know, so it doesn't attract a lot of people because people want the glory, and the excitement of some of these other endeavors that, trust me, are way more exciting. Believe me, but it's all about being intelligent with your money. You know what I mean? So, we can talk about notes today. I'm just going to break it down because a lot of people have questions about notes. Most people don't even know that mortgage note investing exists, that there's a secondary mortgage market, that you can buy people's mortgages. I get questions a lot like, why would you buy these mortgages, man? People are only paying 2 and 3 and 4% interest. How do you make money on those? So, I mean, I get all sorts of different questions all the time about mortgage note investing and how I create passive cash flow with paper versus property. I'm always preaching you guys that stacking a whole lot of doors as a landlord is not as sexy as people put off that it is. Okay, I don't know if you've been there yet, but it's a pain in the ass. So when we figured out we could become the bank and we could have the paper rather than the property, you see, the whole deal is we can collect passive cash flow from real estate all over the country without having to own the real estate. Do you guys have any idea what I'm talking about, or any clue why you think that might be a good thing? There's pros and cons to both. Believe me, guys, I'm never on here to bash real estate. I'm all up into real estate. What's up, Andy? Excuse me. Glad you're able to make it. Your haircut's not till next week, right? Andy said earlier this morning, I'm not going to be able to make your live because I have a haircut I got to go to. And then he was the first person on here. Nope, maybe I misunderstood. My haircut's for next week. So that's awesome to have you on here, Andy. Brilliant. So, let's talk about this, guys. Let's break notes down. Why wouldn't we all want to own a mortgage note or two or three or 10? Everybody's teaching us how to have the properties. Everybody's teaching us how to have the properties. You could rent, get another rental in your portfolio. Sure, of course we can. Could flip another house. Sure. Could just continue wholesaling real estate until we die. Sure. Let me just tell you guys something that got me. When I was getting into it, posed a question of somebody said, "Do you think banks are good at making money?" It's a good question, right? I mean, you want to say, no, screw the banks, blah, 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 blah. Why? Banks are pretty good at making money, guys. Let's just face it. We can talk about all sorts of different loopholes and things that they have at their behest and a bunch of stuff that should be illegal. Yeah, sure. But I'm just saying that banks usually have the biggest sky rises in downtown areas and pretty good at making money. And banks don't flip houses and banks aren't landlords. That was one of the things that got me. I'm like, good point there. That's a good point there. Right? But there's a reason, right? Banks are smart with money, and banks want to own the paper, have the control, and a good yield on their money. But doesn't that sound pretty good for us too? Why wouldn't we just want to own the paper, have full control, and get a good yield on our money? So that's why I got into note investing. If you guys know, note investing is buying the mortgage and not the house, right? So there's a homeowner living there and you could buy the house, or there's a homeowner living there and you could buy their loan, their paper. A mortgage loan is collateralized by the physical property. The banks put themselves in pretty good positioning. And when we get to buy a mortgage note, right, guys, we're not in the real estate investing world at that point. We're not in the real estate investing world at that point. We're in the banker's game, guys. We're buying paper and we're pushing paper, buying paper, trading paper. The real estate all the while is your collateral, sure, okay. But the banks did that because the banks don't like to lose. And when we are a note investor, we get to step into the bank's shoes. Now, if we step into the bank's shoes, then whose rules do we get to play under? Oh, yes, you guessed it, the banks. So, that's why. I mean, we can go over a billion reasons why. I just kind of wanted to be open Q&A because half you guys know that I'm a note investor. Some of you don't even know. You're maybe new to the channel. I invest in mortgage notes. So most people ask me so many questions about it. It's ridiculous. But guys, I opened my garage door and looked outside right now, but can we take a break real quick and can I just show you guys something? Is that cool? And we'll come back. We'll come back to the garage gym in a second, but I have to show you this. Let me show you this, you guys. Good morning, welcome. I got to show you guys this, then we'll come back into the garage, but I have to show you something. Oh, Andy, you don't even want to know, bro. I opened the garage door and I looked out and there's a full-on pink hue on my sidewalk outside my house. There's a pink hue and I go, huh. I look up there and wow, look at this. Let's go out here. I'm going to show you guys. Check this out. We'll go back in my garage in a second. See, it's like pink out here. Look at this. Oh. There's my big ass house. So you guys know this is my pond right here. You guys know that's the pond, right? Out here in the back. But look at this. Look at this. Oh, it just doesn't do it justice, I guess. Yeah, look at that. It doesn't do it justice in the camera. But all these are pink. It's so bright out here on that camera, but man, I wish you could see it. Back here is just gorgeous, but my camera's not doing it too good, but boy, oh boy. Yeah, it's a nice morning out there. So sorry for all you guys that maybe are out there in the Midwest or the Southeast or wherever it's freezing cold or whatever. I heard it's snowing and all that stuff. Not out here in San Diego. It's going to be another nice day today. We're going to go through a heat wave, but man, what a beautiful little sunrise there is out there, dude. Nice, peaceful looking sky today. That's pretty cool, right? Very nice. How is it where you're at? Is it still cold? Is it good? Where are you at? Where are you watching in from? And are you freezing your butt off or what? I want to puke. That's so funny. It's 1 degree there? No, damn. Bree, there's, I think 7 people watching now, but who cares? I don't care how many people are watching. I don't care how many people are watching. Would you care? Would you care if there was only 3 people or 13 or 30 watching you? If you were just a dude in your garage gym in the morning trying to give value? I don't care who shows up to this thing, straight up. Man, that sucks. What's it like, Andy, out there? Is it snow? Is it cold? Is it a blizzard? What's going on? What's going on? All right. So let's just get right into it, guys, because, people like Bree are going to get bored of shit. So, we're not about artistic sunsets here. We're about cash flow. What's up, Poncho? So we're going to get going. It's a bit of one of those bit of a slow mornings, right? It's a bit of a slow morning for me, trying to get my energy up, trying to get ready. Felt like everything was kind of just going slow this morning. Anybody ever feel that way where you're just like, oh man, everything's going slow. My energy wasn't up to par and all that good stuff. Snowing there, sun is out, but bloody cold, I see. Andy said it's colder than Smithereens where he's at. But yeah, man, I just had to take you guys outside. I had to look at that sunrise out there that we get to see this morning out here in the West Coast. Gorgeous, but I wanted to have some, paper discussion today, note investing discussion today, because so many people have so many questions about it. You know that we have a coaching program where we actually bring people into a paid training and a school on how to be note investors. But you guys get me for free on this, on these morning lives. So one of the things that people are going to start to get smart about, perhaps, is just taking advantage of the stuff I know about note investing on here and getting free juice. I'm certain that'll be some smart people, because we have a program, we have a paid program, we have a paid mastermind group. People charge thousands of dollars. I know there's a $50,000 program around out there where you got to pay 50 grand to get into this gentleman's school. But there's a lot of paid education when it comes to note investing. And I figure if you guys are smart, because I'm stupid enough to come on these lives on YouTube and just work out and talk to you guys every morning, then hey, take advantage of it, I guess, right? Ask me anything that you want to ask me about passive cash flow created through mortgage note investing. And my question back to all of us, of course, always is, how come we're all not doing it? How come we're all not buying a mortgage note here or there? Every single mortgage note that we put in the portfolio creates passive monthly cash flow. It is something that you have to do one time. We've gone over this before, guys, but it's work you have to do once up front. And you get paid over and over and over and over and over because of that work. There's not many other industries, many other things you can do that are that way. Am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? You can't go out and be a dentist and just fix like a couple people's teeth and then retire. You can't go out there and be a chiropractor and do a couple back adjustments and retire. Did you know that you can go out there and do a couple transactions in the mortgage note investing space and then you can retire? It just all depends on how much cash flow that you really need per month, right? How much does one person need in monthly cash flow to be able to pay their bills and live an okay life, depending on where you are at? Oops, sorry. Putting some of these weights on the rack, right? So we can get started working out here. Because if you're just hopping on, physical and financial fitness is what we talk about. We're talking about mortgage notes today. We're going to answer a bunch of questions about passive cash flow through mortgage note investing, and we're going to whip out some back and biceps while we do it. I woke up with not a lot of energy today, if you guys have ever felt that way. But you guys always motivate me, whether it's the 3 people or the 5 people or the 20,000 people that show up to this in the mornings to visit with me. To me, it's all good. However many people show up, it is all good. Where did I just get that from? Oh, shoot, I took the wrong thing out. How funny. I'm like, where the hell did I get that thing from? The 3 people, the 30 people, the 13, the billion people that may or may not show up to this is all good, man. Some people are going to be showing up because they are driving. So I know some of the people won't. I don't want you to participate. If people are driving, of course, pay attention to the road. But if you're chilling and you want to ask some questions, that's what I show up for, guys. If I can help one person per day, then I feel like me doing this was worth it. Because you guys know, I used to just come down here and work out, right? So I got on this fitness kick. I was going down the wrong path with the health. Anybody agree that you've been there before? So I was doing the drinking of the alcohol, the staying up late, the partying, not eating right at all. I mean, not even paying attention to what I was eating. I was well overweight for my frame. My muscles had gone away completely. I was looking in the mirror, right? I had like no veins, no muscles. No veins, no muscles. The belly was protruding. My energy levels were horrible. I looked bad with my shirt off. You guys understand what I'm saying? I was going down the wrong path physically. Okay? For sure. Okay? I was trying to treat my body as bad as I possibly could, just about. Anybody ever been there? Okay, so I went down the party route and I went crazy and I let alcohol be a big factor in my life, and I went down those paths. And at the end of the day, I realized that, that was not the path that I wanted to go down. And so, sometimes we just have to sometimes realize on our own, no matter what other people are saying around us, it won't click, but we have to realize on our own, and something clicks inside you and you just go, God dang, I'm ready for a change, right? So about like 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years coming up this month, I think at the end of the month. But, about 2 years ago, I just got fed up and I'm like, dude, I'm going to start working out. So I came down here and I started working out in the mornings in my garage gym. And I'm a guy who likes to soak up information. I like to learn as much as possible about economics, as much as possible about how to create cash flow, as much as possible about how to pass along wealth, right? Because I have 2 daughters. So I just wanted to learn and soak stuff up. So I said, okay, I'm going to knock 2 birds out with one stone. You guys get my story? I came down here in the garage gym that I built in my little garage. I was busting workouts every single morning trying to stay consistent. And what I did was I was working out and I would put my earbuds in and I put my phone on either YouTube or a certain podcast or what have you, but I would make sure that I was getting my education financially while I was down here working out physically. I was trying to always knock out 2 birds with one stone. I wasn't down here listening to music or anything like that in the the earphones. I wasn't down here listening to rap music to get myself pumped up for the workout. I was working out down here in this garage gym that I built and just trying to stay consistent 5 days a week. And while I was working out, I was trying to get my game on education-wise when it comes to finances, cryptocurrency, politics, you name it. I was just soaking up as much education as I could, right? And so there was at a certain point where my physical body turned around really, really well. And then, of course, you guys know that I am a fund manager. We have a $250 million investment fund. I invest in mortgage notes as a specialty, but we're building apartments in Florida and doing all this great stuff. And we've been able to accomplish this since 2019 when we really started doing business together, my partner and I. So at the end of the day, I decided I was going to come down here and instead of work out and listen to other people and get my education in, I thought I would just come provide value. So I hope that helps with Bray. So you'll know I don't care if there's 3 people on here or 30 people on here or whatever. It doesn't really matter to me at all. I'm down here to help offer value and to help motivate others while I'm down here working out versus what was happening before, which was me working out and me listening to everybody else's stuff and getting motivated by them and educated by them. So you get it. I'm just here for you now. And it doesn't matter how many people are on here. I'm here for the people that show up. And I just try to offer value and motivation if I can. So that's pretty simple, right? I mean well by doing this, you guys. I don't mean anything but help for my fellow man or woman, okay? I just want to make sure people are getting in their best physical shape they can be in, no matter what age they're starting at or no matter what point of physical physique you're starting at or whatever. No matter what age or where you're starting at, I'd love to be able to motivate you to get in the best physical shape you can be in, right? Of course, you know what we could do too? We could also try to help motivate each other to be in the best financial shape we can be in, right? That's all we can do. It's kind of like a game of life. Goes by so fast. Some maybe people are younger than me. I'm 46. Some people on here are older than me, older than 46. But, the older we get, the more we realize that life is very fast. It's fleeting. It's very quick. We only have so much, this little amount of time here on the planet with this little life we're blessed to have, right? We get to enjoy love and people and experiences and feelings and emotions and all these great things about being able to experience this life. And it's so short, and so it's like, I'd rather do good and be positive and try to motivate others versus anything else, I guess. So, yeah, it works for me too, Andy. It works for me too. And so, like, when I found out about mortgage note investing, first of all, I had no damn clue what the hell it was. Okay? I'm like, what the hell's that? Can we start there? And then it was like, well, why is this mortgage note investing stuff cool? And, it all starts there, right? And I started all that back in like 2018 with my wow moment and my, hey, is this too good to be true kind of moment. Here, let me turn this off so it doesn't wiggle. But then I figure that's got to be one of the best investment vehicles I've ever seen after I got past the is it too good to be true stage, if you're with me on that, right? Anybody else, when they heard about you could own someone else's mortgage, said, that's bullshit, or wait a minute, what does that mean? Or how do you make money doing that, or whatever, right? So instead of owning the property, we own the paper. Can I give you guys a different analogy so that you'll understand? Because I have another individual that I may be befriending. Pretty cool cat. I just met him for lunch the other day, but I want to get out and go surfing and do some things just to maybe see if there's some business to be done together and some motivation back and forth, right? Between me and this gentleman. But his business is to go acquire real estate. What's up, Mark? What's up, Mark? Top of the morning, man. He goes and acquires real estate in the Midwest and Southeast. So you're going there and you're competing against the wholesalers and all the other people that are after all this real estate, right? So you go buy real estate. If it needs minor repairs or whatever, or hopefully it doesn't, but if it needs minor repairs and things like that, the physical real estate, then he'll do those repairs on the physical real estate and manage that kind of stuff, from across the United States. He's in San Diego, California, and invests a lot in the Midwest and Southeast. So you buy real estate, and then maybe if you do need minor repairs or whatever to make it livable, but instead of adding another rental to his portfolio because he's big in stacking doors, right? Owning rental properties. So what he learned is that the paper side of the business where I play is maybe easier, maybe sometimes smarter, less headaches, more passive. Realize that, right? So angle of attack is to go get the real estate. Once you have the real estate, maybe you have to do minor repairs or something like that. And then you sell or finance it. So I'm trying to give you guys an idea of the paper being created, right? Or a mortgage being originated. So he seller finances the property, means he sells it to a buyer, but he doesn't have the buyer go to an outside bank to get a loan. He sells it to the buyer and he carries the financing. He becomes the bank. So he collects a cash deposit, he creates a mortgage note, and he ends up in the position where I play, where he now owns the paper. And he's put a homeowner in place that will soon get the pink slip to the house, so to speak, when they pay him in full, right? But he becomes first lien lender, he carries back the mortgage loan for the borrower, and he creates the paper. So do you guys understand that route? How you would go find a piece of real estate, instead of turning it into a rental, you would sell it. You'd sell it via seller financing, carry back the loan for the home buyer, put yourself in place as the bank, and hold that paper. So you would start collecting monthly mortgage payments rather than monthly rent payments because there's not a renter living there, there's a homeowner living there. Does that make sense? So this gentleman figured out that what we do in the note investing side of the space, or being that it's owning the paper, not the property, is pretty damn advantageous. And so in the real estate endeavors, been very good at for years, figured out that, geez, being the bank and owning the paper is a lot better than owning the property in a lot of ways. And so he figured then he would stay on his same track moving forward and buying properties because that's the lane that he was in. But he'd buy the properties, okay? But rather than turn that property he acquired into another rental and put a tenant in there, right? Then he would put a homeowner in there that wanted to be a homeowner and be a home buyer. And he'd collect the cash deposit and then create the paper, originate the loan, carry back the loan, right? So you guys understand it from that front end. What we do is we buy the paper through the back door, if that makes sense, okay, guys? So rather than go even hunt down real estate, rather than have to compete with the wholesalers and all the other people that are, from the Pace Morby schools and the Gator methods and all this stuff, guys, there's just everybody and their brother and uncle's into real estate. Does that make sense? Everybody and their brother and their uncle's into real estate. So you're competing with everybody, basically, right? Everybody who wants to be an investor is out there doing some type of real estate. So you're already competing with the bunch, right? But in the mortgage note space, much smaller space. A lot of people don't even know that you can just go through the back door and buy the paper once it's already originated and you don't have to chase after the real estate. Excuse me. How do you buy mortgage debt? Or where do I go? Well, first you got to decide how much money do you've got. Because it's a cash business, and if you don't have enough money of your own, you need to figure out how to raise capital, private capital. Because listen, gentleman I'm speaking of goes and buys the real estate, right? Well, when he goes and buys the real estate, he doesn't buy the real estate with his own money. He goes out and buys the real estate with OPM, right? Whether it's bank leverage loan or he gets money from a private lender or whatever it is that is investing in his real estate business, right? His real estate investing business. So he gets private capital, and he takes the private capital that he gets and goes and buys the physical real estate. Then he takes that physical real estate and seller finances it with a much higher interest rate than what he's paying the lender that, lent him the money to get into the deal. And he charges the new homeowner a higher interest rate, and he keeps the spread, right? So for each property he puts in his portfolio like that, he's probably $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 a month net coming into this gentleman without the headaches of being a landlord. But he went the front door, right? He went out to compete with the other real estate people to buy the property. He had to go and compete with all the wholesalers and all the Pace Morby people. And he had to acquire the real estate, all the while having the ownership liability of that real estate. So ownership liability, in real estate comes with lawn maintenance and city fines and fees and who knows what, your name's on title. And takes that property and then goes and seller finances it and ends up in the position that I play in. So all I teach people is that you don't have to go through all that if you don't want to. I think that's a freaking epic program. I mean, I might do a couple myself that way. And as a matter of fact, we do, right? So sometimes when I do a deed in lieu or a cash for keys situation or a foreclosure, I end up from a note investor standpoint taking back a piece of property. And I end up owning a piece of property, right? Through a cash for keys, deed in lieu, or foreclosure, and I will end up owning property. Well, I have a couple choices when I own the property as a note investor, when I've taken back my collateral and I own the property. I have a couple choices, right? One of those is I could rent it out. You own it at that point, so you could rent it out. The other choice is that I could sell or finance it. I could collect a deposit, get a new buyer in there, and carry back new paper. I mean, there's options here. But what I'm teaching people is that you can go to the secondary mortgage market, and to answer your question, there's a bunch of different places, Lion, to buy notes. Or Loin, Lion, I said Lion. Loin. There's a bunch of different places where you can buy notes, man. That's not really the ultimate question is, let's just say there's a bunch of places to buy these notes. They are for sale. They are sold at a discount. The secondary mortgage market, investing in mortgage paper, has been going on a long ass time. It only got popularized with us schmucks because of after 2008. After 2008, it became a normal man's game. Before 2008, it was institutional game, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? So people have gotten transfer letters in the mail forever, guys. If you've ever bought a house and you got a mortgage loan, you've been there as a good little borrower paying your mortgage on time every month. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you get a letter in the mail that says your mortgage company is no longer your mortgage company, no more. And you get a letter from a different lender or a different bank, and it says, hey, we're now your mortgage company. Your mortgage got transferred from Wells Fargo to us. We're Bank of America. So don't go paying your mortgage payment to them no more. Pay it to us now. That's when a mortgage gets transferred. Well, this has been going on from bank to bank and institution to institution for so damn long, guys. They created the secondary mortgage market for banks to offload mortgage debt forever ago. Okay, but you had to have 50 million bucks or 100 million bucks minimum to even sit at the lunch table to talk with these people about trades, right? They're trading giant pools of people's mortgages. And it's been going on from bank to bank and fund to fund and institution to institution for quite some time. So this whole thing of, trading mortgage debt is nothing new under the sun, y'all. It ain't nothing new, okay? It's just new to us, right? Why? Because, of course, none of us have been sitting on $50 or $100 million to sit at the lunch table with the big note bankers trading the notes, right? No, we don't have that, right? So now what happened in 2008, if you go watch the movie The Big Short, if you guys aren't hip to this, go watch the movie, because it's a good movie anyways, right? If you guys like movies, it's just a good movie. Great actors, Steve Carell, Brad Pitt, you name it. So really good movie, The Big Short, but it shows and depicts the mortgage meltdown that happened to us in 2008 when the whole mortgage market and economy fell apart, okay? When the whole mortgage market and economy fell apart, well, then the secondary mortgage market, where banks and institutions offload these mortgages for cash, okay? What happened was the secondary mortgage market got absolutely flooded with inventory. You guys know what I'm saying? These banks had these huge portfolios of mortgages that were all AAA rated because, hey, people tend to pay their mortgages. You hear what I'm saying? So they had these great portfolios. No expectation ever that, say, 30, 40, or 50% of your whole portfolio would stop paying their mortgage. This is unheard of, right? In the mortgage industry, 3, 4, 5, 6% default rate is manageable. But if you're a bank and you hold 4 million mortgages and 1.7 million of 4 million mortgages all of a sudden stop paying their mortgage, you're in some shit. So what happened was, guys, if you remember back then, people were walking away from houses, giving them back to the bank. I can't afford the mortgage payment. I have no equity. I have no exit strategy. So a lot of these homeowners were like, forget it. They were like writing a letter and magneting to the refrigerator, turning off the power and leaving, like saying, hey, bank, we can't afford the house no more, so it's yours. So the banks and the institutions, y'all, had all this non-performing paper on their books. And if people were walking away from these houses, then you realize they had dilapidating collateral as well, meaning the physical property, no one was even there to take care of it, to clean it, to watch out for mold, the yard overgrowing, the bushes, the weeds, everything. It was just like, well, that's the bank's collateral. So if you have that much non-performing paper on the books and you have that much dilapidating collateral, you don't even have the infrastructure employee-wise to do all the loan modifications, workouts, foreclosures, and all that stuff you need to do. So that you're done. So what they did, guys, is they offloaded a whole boatload of mortgages, by the way, selling them at pennies on the dollar, not even for full value whatsoever, but they sold off all these mortgages at pennies on the dollar. It flooded the marketplace. So with that much inventory, it became more popularized for people like me and you to understand that we can be a mortgage note investor versus a real estate investor. It's still kind of in the same game, but we're playing in the money game, the paper game, not the real estate game. We're using the real estate as our collateral, which is why banks are smart, right? Banks don't have to handle the tenant bullshit. Banks don't have to handle the termite issues. Banks don't have to handle the calls about the toilets because the toilet got clogged up. Banks don't have to handle none of that stuff because banks own the mortgages and they collect mortgage payments from homeowners. They don't have a portfolio of rental properties and real estate where they collect a bunch of rent all the time from renters. Do you see? It's just a different game, but it's kind of similar. You know what I'm saying? How much money, Lloyd said, how much money to start and what website to go to find secondary mortgages? Well, I bought a note one time, you guys, for $4,000. What did I buy this note for? Just to give you an idea, okay? I bought a note once, I think back in like 2020. In 2020, I bought a note for $4,500, something like that. It was like $4,500. And what I did was I collected a couple payments, I think, for about 4-6 months. Not big payments, of course, but I collected a couple monthly payments on that note, 4 to 6 months worth, and then I sold it for $7,000. So I bought a note for $4,500, collected 4 or 5 monthly cash flow payments, then sold it for $7,000. So that was a pretty good deal that didn't, take a whole bunch of money whatsoever. But I always say, guys, if you're going to really play the game in a pro manner, I think having, $50,000 or more would be a good place. $50,000 or more. These days I shoot for 70 to 100,000 minimum myself, per deal, but it's not how it has to be. Shit, you can even get into some real clever things like non-performing second liens and things like that. So there's different ways to skin the cat in the note investing space. But if you do it my way, which is I like to buy a lot of first lien performing notes, it just means I'm buying a note where somebody's living there and they're making their mortgage payment on time every month, like good borrowers and all that good stuff. And I just want to take over those payments. That's usually how I play. That's usually how I play. But you can do a lot of different things. And by the way, because I always give a shout out, okay? My boys Rick and Brett, own PaperStack. So PaperStack is a website where you can go buy notes. There you go. There you go. So there's a few online platforms where you can just go right now. PaperStack is one of them. My buddy Rick and my buddy Brett, I always shout them out. Nice fellas that run that joint. Good company, been around a while. And they try to make it for amateurs and for people new to the business. They do make it very easy to go through a note investment transaction. But the idea is, guys, to own the paper, not the property. And so that was the thing, man. And I wanted to open it up to Q&A with you guys because more so, guys, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. I've done a lot of this, guys. We now have, 17 million or 15 million. I don't know where it's at now. I know we recently sold some assets, but I don't know how many millions of dollars of these mortgages we've bought, right, since 2019. But a lot of them. So I'm pretty experienced at it. And I tell people about this, guys, because I think that for a lot of individuals, not everybody, but for a lot of individuals, it may be a lot smarter for you to own the paper, not the property, for many reasons, okay? I'm just going to put it that way. Let's see, what'd you say here? Loin, I just need to know how to get $50,000 to $100,000 to play in those markets or invest. Thanks, I appreciate that. How does it work if you buy a note with someone else? These are good questions. I'm just a factory worker. Loin, all good. You're not just a factory worker. Don't associate like that. You are not just a factory worker. I know what you mean, guys, but I'm just making a point here, right? As far as mentality is concerned. You're working in a factory right now until. You're just working in a factory right now until, okay? Until you make your next move, all right? It's just a temporary thing. You're working in a factory until you do what? All right. So you're not just a factory worker. That is not true. You just happen to work at a factory for the time being. Just by mindset, guys, okay? But where do you get $50,000 to $100,000? That's a really good question. Anybody have any ideas? Let's say, all right, I'm going to give you guys a scenario, okay? I see a $75,000 mortgage note investment that's available. I make an offer on it. Offer gets accepted even. Then what do you do from there, guys? I have to do like due diligence. Don't I have to do due diligence on the asset to make sure it's something I actually want to buy? But if you can get through all that, guys, if you know where to source them, how to vet them and do the due diligence and how to do all this stuff, if you're that far along, then fantastic. If you can do all that, then you make the offer. Offer gets accepted. What's up, HBJ? What's up, man? So what do we do here, guys? We have this opportunity where we can buy this asset. This asset we know can put money in our pocket up front when we complete the acquisition. And not only put money in your pocket up front when you complete the acquisition, but also add a certain level, whether it's 200, 300, 400, passive monthly cash flow to your income. So for every $200, $300, $400, $500 per month of passive cash flow that you continue to add to your portfolio, there's only so many of those you need to do, guys, and you will earn your financial freedom, especially someone who maybe is working in a factory. If we're working in a factory, generally this is not considered to be a super ultra high paying job. Generally, a factory worker is making a fair income, but not a high paying job. And so how much money would it take to replace one's income who was the factory worker? How much? Hi, bye. You didn't spell that right. How much do you make, Loin, in the factory? Oh, that's wild. 1,500 a week. That's pretty good money. See, so 3,000. So you're making $6,000 a month, yeah. So it's $6,000 a month. Divide that by 300 bucks. What's somebody do that on the calculator? I got some weird warning message in my. That's weird. Google said something in my chat. Oh well, hope that doesn't cut off my live. But so like that's $6,000 a month. What's 6,000 a month divided by 300? I'm just curious. What's the number? Can you guys tell me what's 6,000 divided by 300? 30. There you go. There you go. 6,000 divided by 300 is 30. All right, so this is interesting, guys. If 6,000 divided by 30, or 6,000 divided by 300 is 30, okay? Then that means that in my business, you would need to do 30 transactions at around $75,000 a pop. 30 transactions at $75,000 a pop with other people's money, not even your own money, just 30 transactions, and you would replace that amount of monthly income with pure passive income that just hits the bank account every month in the mail, okay? So the question is then, what's the process? Nah, Andy, I get it. You were doing a different calculation. So what's the process? At $6,000 per month, divided by $300 per month, is 30. So we need to do 30 transactions, 30 paper acquisitions in order to reach financial freedom. Quit our W-2, never work in a factory again. Only 30 transactions, it would make that happen. That's you can get this done in less than 3 years if you do one transaction a month. Because each deal you do not only will put some money in your pocket up front along the way, but each deal that you do will add probably around 300 bucks a month of passive cash flow to your income. And so let's just think if we do one deal. This is what I always go back to, guys. If you only did one transaction and you got, I don't know, $2,000 in your pocket up front when you did the paperwork, when you completed the transaction, and then you added $300 a month of passive cash flow to your bottom line, what would just $300 a month of passive cash flow coming in monthly do for most people? I mean, that changes the game a little bit, doesn't it? Only $300 a month coming in, but passively and predictably, right? It hits the mailbox every month on the 3rd. Having only $300 a month passive income is going to be great for a lot of people, right? What bill does that pay for you that you have to bust ass for every month? Yeah, no, it's all good. Loin, I get it, bro. I worked in a factory. I worked in a factory driving a forklift. I worked in a lumber yard stacking lumber. Done all that good stuff in my day. So it's all good, brother. I appreciate hard work in that. But yeah, that is a point you make, Loin, is that when you get into a new game like this, there is just some different lingo we got to learn too, right? Some different language revolves around a new industry that, yeah, I had to learn a lot about that too. But you get it, guys. So how would we get 75 grand? Can you tell me how you guys would come up on 75,000 bucks? If you had a deal on the table today that numbered out and penciled out really good, meaning it's a safe investment, it's collateralized, it spits off this great monthly cash flow, it comes with a great yield. You have this deal. You have the knowledge of how to do the due diligence and acquire this thing, and there it is. But you don't have the $75,000 cash you need to buy this deal. What are you guys going to do? What is it that you do? How do you get 75,000 bucks if you don't have 75,000 bucks? A bank. Okay, you could. You could. There are clever ways to go and leverage a financial institution like a bank. So that's the truth. I don't go to banks a lot. I don't go to banks a lot for money. You know, it's weird. Banks don't like to give you loans so that you can go buy loans with the loan money. So banks don't like to loan money to you so you can go buy a loan. So it's not the same as getting like a loan on a house, okay? Banks will loan on real estate really easily. So anyways, there's ways to work about it. Yes, you can use bank money. You can, yes. You can use a bank money. So bank money would include certain types of credit card accounts. Bank money would include all sorts of different types of loans. Business loans based on your business, your LLC, your S Corp, whatever it may be. So yeah, certainly. You can definitely go to a bank, right? Definitely go to a bank. What else? What else can you do? It's okay, Loin, that's why you're here, brother. That's why you're here listening to a guy like me. Why would you listen to a guy like me? Well, I don't know. Maybe I could help you with stuff like this. So how many other people on the call right now think that the only way to get capital to do stuff is to go to a bank? The only way to get money to do things is to go to a bank. Anybody else kind of have that feeling? It's not a bad thing, Lauren. That's just how it is, right? People, we know, and we don't think outside the box much. And maybe it takes a mentor or someone special close to us to teach us how to think differently and all that good stuff, and that's okay. One of the reasons why I come live for all you guys in the mornings like this, so we can discuss these topics, man. These are important and intelligent topics to discuss as adults, okay? I believe everybody deserves a certain amount of financial freedom. I don't think this whole 40 hours a week for 40 years of our lives to retire with nothing is a good plan that we've been sold. I just don't think so, okay? So where would we get $75,000 besides a bank? Anybody else got any ideas? Here we have this great asset on the table, but it's going to take $75,000 to be able to acquire this asset. Here we have the chance to buy this asset, right? To acquire an asset that's going to put passive cash flow in our bank account monthly, add to our net worth. It's going to be this great thing. It's 75 grand. We have this asset. We can buy it, but we don't, here we're sitting. We're not liquid at the moment. Not liquid at the moment, meaning we don't have our own 75 grand to buy it. But boy, it'd be nice to buy it. It looks like a really good asset. It's a moneymaker, but we don't have the 75 grand. Where else could you get 75,000 bucks besides the bank? Let me know. I'll wait. I want you guys to come up with something. Where can you get $75,000 other than the bank? Curious. Put this over here for you. Dun, dun, dun. Whoop. There you go. Where can you get $75,000 to buy this asset other than the bank? You tell me, guys. Anybody got any ideas? Anybody got any ideas? Dun, 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 dun. Let me ask you guys a question. This might be an interesting question for you. Oops, I got to tighten that. That's loose. Private money lender or hard money lender? There you go, HBJ. HBJ said a private money lender, PML, or a hard money lender, HML. So that's also a fair idea. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Thank you, HBJ. HBJ says go to a private money lender or a hard money lender. Now, hard money lender usually is short usage of capital, and they charge a lot for you to use that capital for that short amount of time. Hard money lender. That's why they call it hard money, right? Private money lender, yeah. Private money lender, what does that mean, you guys? Are there people out here that have money, even though maybe you don't? Wow, that's something to soak up, huh? That's something to soak up. Isn't that a funny thing? Are there a bunch of people out and around here that have money, even though maybe we don't? Yes or no? Yes or no? Are there people with IRAs and 401ks that have done really well and they have this big retirement account sitting there? It's invested in the stock market, yes. Are there people out here that have a boatload of equity in their property? A boatload of equity they're sitting on. Do you know people like that? A ton of equity in their house. You know people like that? You know people that have an IRA or a 401k built up just because they've been working the same job for the last 30 years? You know those people? Not the richy people. Not the people in your family that drive the Rolls Royces and Ferraris, because, you know, of course, we all have people in our direct families that drive Rolls Royces and Ferraris, right? Psych. Psych. But is it fair for us to say that there's a boatload of money all over the place? There's a lot of people that have money to invest. Maybe if we don't have a bunch of our own money at this moment. So is there a lot of people sitting on money, yes or no? Yeah, buddy. The answer is yes. There's a whole lot of people, y'all, that have tons of money. There's a lot of people that have IRAs, 401ks, with $100,000 sitting in them. Dang it, this thing fell apart. I'm going to have to, I don't have time to repair this because I'm talking to you guys. So yes, the idea is, guys, that there are, believe it or not, there are other people out there in this world that are looking for an expert that they can trust with their money in what we would call an alternative investment asset class. So you guys know that most people just invest their money in the stock market. You guys hear that? Most people, I'm going to have to do this variation here. How's this going to work? My little thing broke. Let's see. If I put my feet there, will that work? Huh. You know what? We're just going to do upright rows. Forget it. We're not going to do seated rows this time. Oh, okay. Awesome. Michael's here. Michael says he's an expert shit talker. Well, welcome, Michael. Welcome. I don't mind having expert shit talkers on here. It makes it fun. So I appreciate you. That's great. Yeah, but who feels safe lending? Loin, good idea. Ah, yes. Well, nobody would feel safe lending money to you if you're not a trusted expert. That's number one. So you got to become somebody different first. You got to become a trusted expert in an asset class first and foremost. Okay? But you have to be a good person of character. You have to be a trusted expert in the asset class. It means you have to have gotten in your reps and your education, not necessarily expertise. There's always a first deal to be done, but there's always a first deal to be done, right? Just like there's always a first heart for a heart surgeon to operate on when they graduate school. Got it? What's up, Winning? How you doing? But Loin, let me ask you a question, man. And here, I have a question for you guys. Interesting question for you, and then you tell me, break this down, okay? I want you guys to tell me, be the judge. If I have a gold brick, right? You know they make little gold bricks. They stamp out gold bricks, right? A lot of people have been investing in gold and silver lately and stuff. So let's say I have a gold brick. Let's say that the gold brick that I own, it's in my safe, in my gun safe. Let's say I have a gold brick that's worth $100,000, and it's verifiable. It's real. The weight is real. It's verifiable. Okay. But I have a little gold brick that's worth $100,000 in my gun safe. Okay. I keep it there. That's my little gold collateral system. Right? I have this little gold brick's worth about $100,000, right? So if I were to offer up my gold brick as collateral to somebody, okay, and I said, look, I'm looking to borrow $80,000 for such endeavor. Okay, I'm going to go buy a house. I'm going to go buy a house and flip it, or I'm going to, go buy a mortgage note for cash flow, or I'm going to go whatever. Okay, so you have this endeavor, you have this opportunity on the table. Could I use my $100,000 gold brick as collateral for somebody who has money, and issue them that gold brick that's worth $100,000 as their collateral to borrow $80,000 from them? Would that be a good deal, Loin? Would the person, the individual, feel safe in that aspect if they got to hang on to my $100,000 gold brick, maybe keep it in their safe until I've paid them back as agreed? And if I don't, they could just keep the gold brick. It's worth $100,000. So would they lend me $80,000 if I issued them my $100,000 gold brick as collateral for the borrowed money? And I see Loin said, yep. Brave said 100%. Okay. So now there you go. You get it. Okay. And let me relate it back to what we do. Can I borrow money and use a mortgage note as collateral instead of a gold brick? Just like I can use a physical piece of real estate as collateral to get a loan on it, right? I can use physical real estate as collateral and go borrow money, putting my real estate up for collateral. Can I put a mortgage note up for collateral. Give a mortgage note, assign one to somebody as their collateral for a loan so that they feel safe lending the money? The answer is yes. Yep, Loin, yes. Brave, 100%. Winning, yes. Loin, yes. Brave, let's go. The answer is yes. That's why, remember guys, I'm in the mortgage note investment space. It means that a mortgage note is a tradable asset of value. A mortgage note, the paper, is a tradable asset of value. Just like the physical real estate is a tradable asset of value. Just like my gold brick that's up in my safe is a tradable asset of value. Just like this car behind me in the garage is an asset of tradable value. Okay? So I could put my Mercedes-Benz up for collateral and get a loan from somebody, right? As long as it made sense to them as a lender. As long as my Mercedes-Benz is worth a lot more than what they've lent to me, right? Then they're putting themselves as a lender in a pretty good position. Okay? Could I use anything of value as collateral? It's a tradable instrument to borrow money from somebody. Yeah, it just is going to depend on this private lender and this individual on, do they think that that collateral is worthy of their letting you borrow the money? That's up to them. If that makes sense. Yeah. So then if I'm acquiring these mortgage notes, can I use mortgage notes as a tradable asset of value, as collateral to assign to a private lender to borrow money, My question, yeah? There you go. There you go. So then you could do that, couldn't you? Couldn't you find a good asset, get the expertise up to a certain point where your education is immense in the subject matter? You can go know where to find these assets, where to locate them, how to do the due diligence, to perform the due diligence tasks to make sure you're going to be buying the right thing, how to do all the math to calculate all the exit strategies, and how to make sure that you know what you're doing. Then you become a person of value to other investors that have money, right? Because believe it or not, guys, you know how we always say we're too busy, we're too busy, we're too busy, we're too busy, okay. Well, don't you think everybody says that then? So there's a lot of people that have good money. There's a lot of people that have done well as a dentist, have done well owning a business, an entrepreneur, running a taco shops, whatever it may be, you guys. There's people that have done well financially. But they've done well financially because of what they do for a living. And they're still doing that for a living. And so they're very, very busy, okay? And they don't have the time to go out and be an expert house flipper. They don't have the time to go out and learn how to syndicate and buy an apartment building. They don't have the time to learn how to be a note investor. They don't have the time to be an expert in the asset class. So a lot of these people with the money are looking for somebody like us, like an expert in the asset class. So don't you guys understand that there's a bunch of different things of value in a deal to get a deal across the table, and the money's just one little piece of it? Right? There's like 7 essential resources that have to be in place to get a note deal done or a house flip done or whatever, right? Someone has to have specialized education. Someone has to be able to source the deals. Somebody has to be good at evaluation and due diligence. Somebody has to be good at acquisition. Somebody has to be good at asset management. Somebody has to know all the exit strategies and be prepared for how they're going to exit. And then they have to have the money. So when there's those 7 essential resources needed to do a real estate investment, money being only one of them out of 7, okay? If you're somebody that doesn't have a boatload of money, then wouldn't you concentrate on being good at the other 6? There you go. There you go. Yeah, Loin, you do have something of value. You're a hardworking individual and a kind-hearted person. You want to be financially free, and you wish other people could be financially free. I wish that would be cool, right? So, Loin, it's just a change in mindset, bro. Keep working at the factory and learn something about real estate investing. Start to read books. Join a community like mine at Note Investor University where we teach it. You know what I mean? Get yourself in a different group of people, even if it's online, but you're starting to change your mindset. You know, the wise person says, if you want your environment around you to change, you must first become the change inside. It's very smart, yeah? So as we start to learn different things, as we start to surround ourselves with different people, and as we start to learn new skills that we didn't have before, then we become more capable, yes? There you have it. So how come, if I can learn note investing, you guys, trust me, you can learn it too. I am no smarter than anybody else on this call. I've been working in factories and that kind of shit my whole life as well. Worked in the lumber yard, worked dialing for dollars as a telemarketer, done it all. You know how it is. Been there, done that. It was when I was 38 years old that I decided that I was sick of it and I was going to make a change, and now I'm 46 and I'm financially free. So there you have it. But isn't that wild to think that, oops, that's going to be too heavy for that exercise. I got to get some of this weight off. Isn't that wild to think, though, guys, that a lot of us work, 40 or 50 years, 40 hours a week to barely get by. That's just the game, right? Do you know a bunch of people are stuck in the game? It's just the truth. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. Okay, we're stuck in this rat race, this wheel we can never get off of. Do you think it's kind of like on purpose? I do. Okay, we're too tired and busy to revolt, y'all. We're too tired and busy to revolt. Yeah? And you know how that's true? Because I know a lot of you would say you're too tired and busy to even try to make a change and try to change your life for the better and become financially free. A lot of you guys say too tired and busy. That's your proof right there. If you're too tired and busy to strive for anything better, they got you right where they want you. Right where they want you. Or right where they want us. But yeah, books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant, The Richest Man in Babylon. I love that book too. But Richest Man in Babylon, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant. It all starts with mindset. Yeah, this is a little home gym I built. Just a little home gym. I don't like going to the gym much. It's a little home gym I built. I just broke didn't break it, but my little thing fell apart for me to put my feet against to do seated rows. So we're skipping the seated rows today, and we're going right to upright rows because I broke my little attachment. But anyway, Think and Grow Rich, great book. Richest Man in Babylon, Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's a lot of these books, guys. How about this one? Here's one you guys don't know about. Here's one for you. How about a book called Invest in Debt? See, not mainstream. Not Robert Kiyosaki. Not everybody on the real estate podcast is talking about this stuff, yeah? How about that? Go check out a book called Invest in Debt. Invest in Debt, written by Jimmy Napier. A book called Invest in Debt. Jimmy Napier. You're back, Bray. Good to see you. Nice, bro. I wish I could have a home gym. Just build one. Just build one. Yeah, check out that book, guys. So if you're talking about books to read, sure. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, The Cash Flow Quadrant, Richest Man in Babylon. These are all general financial intelligence books that change your mindset. Your mindset has to change before things around you can change, for sure. We get that, guys, right? So your mindset has got to change first for your environment to change around you. And if the mindset starts to think differently, then different things can then tend to happen in your life. So those of you who may associate with what it is you do for a living right now, and that's who you say you are, that's not the truth, guys. You are not a factory worker. You are not somebody that's destined to do this the rest of your life. That's not who you are. That's just what you're doing temporarily, okay? And the mindset says that in a few short years' time, and please don't say that's too long and you're too impatient. In a few short years' time, a few short years, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, few short years, you can completely flip your life around physically and or financially. It's just the truth. So we were talking about replacing the factory worker income, $6,000 a month. Well, okay. So in the business, how I play the game, it would take you about 30 deals to get that done. So if somebody just started on a track to do one deal per month, that means in less than 3 years, then somebody would not have to ever work in a factory ever again. In less than 3 years' time, somebody could say, I'll never have to work in a factory ever again. Haha, I beat that shit. That's wild, right? But people aren't willing to do that. People aren't willing to take the time to educate and take the time to figure out that this truly is the reality, guys. It's possible. And it's possible to do it in an easier manner and a less competitive area than standard or traditional real estate investing. I'm just saying. I'm just scared that I'm too lazy and mentally not able to grasp all this mumbo jumbo. Oh, that's not the truth, buddy. That is certainly not the truth. But Loin, it does sound like that you're good at talking yourself down, though. I see that you've become an expert at that. And that can be very detrimental on its own, okay? I'm not picking on you. But what I'm saying is, man, some of the way you're talking about yourself, right? First of all, there's nothing scary about succeeding, and there's nothing scary about trying new shit. You've been doing that your whole life. I bet you were scared the first time you rode a bike. I bet you were scared the first time you drove a car, but you can do that pretty easy now, can't you? For sure. And mentally grasp? Yes, sure you can. You can mentally grasp everything. I bet if I came over to the factory where one works, and I just started to work day one, I bet there would be some shit you would have to teach me about what's going on in that factory to make sure I remain safe or know what the hell I'm doing for that job. So shit, I'd have to come over there and learn how to work in that factory first before I could do it. Everything's learned. And yes, you can understand everything. I talk fast, but guys, we buy people's mortgage loans and we collect the payments. If they don't pay, we take their house. Can you understand that? Let's talk mortgage note investing for dummies. So mortgage note investing for dummies like me. Mortgage note investing for dummies says we buy the mortgage loan that's secured by the property. We don't buy the property. We buy the mortgage loan instead. So we're in the paper investing business. We buy the mortgage loan and not the house. Now, they're either going to pay us and we're going to collect passive cash flow, or they're not going to pay us and they get to give up their house to us, and then now we own the real estate at pennies on the dollar. Simple. Simple. The hard part is getting the education on how it all works. So we have to study. Yes, we have to study. We have to learn something new. We have to step outside our comfort zone for a little minute. Let me turn this fan on. It's getting warm. I hate it to say this. It's getting warm in San Diego at 7:43 in the morning already. So, y'all get it, man. Yeah, it ain't rocket science. Every single thing needs to be learned. You remember how uncomfortable y'all were? Can we take it back? You remember how uncomfortable y'all were when you first drove a car? When somebody taught you when you were 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, whatever, your family. Yeah, Winning, I used to live in PB for quite a while too. I lived in Pacific Beach for like 7.5 years. Maybe more, but I think 7.5, 8 years I lived in PB. Different place nowadays. It was pretty cool back then. But you guys get it, man. I mean, come on. First time you drove a car, somebody had to teach you everything. You know damn well. First time you got in a car, man, because there was a lot. There was, especially when we drove stick shift back in the day, but there was a lot. You didn't know. It was uncomfortable to you, man. The switches and what turned the blinker on or didn't, and the windshield wipers, the radio, how to operate it, how to shift the gears, the clutch, how to time everything. Do I look in this mirror when I'm backing up or that mirror? How do you parallel park? All this shit. All of us went through this. We learned how to drive a car. Now, can you hop into a car right now brainlessly and not think about it whatsoever because it's second nature and you just like hop right on in and boom, boom, boom. You don't think about what you're doing. You don't think about the sequence of, okay, I start the car. There you go. Put my seatbelt on, make sure the seatbelt's on. Got it. Adjust the mirrors. Sweet. Let's make sure the seat is adjusted to the right distance from the steer. All right. Got it. Check the mirror. Okay. Put it in reverse. Who drives like that anymore? It is that serious. And I'm not going to calm down. I really wish that the few people that I speak to, that this touches their heart. So that's who I'm speaking to. If I'm too out of control for you, then you don't need to watch. But I have a passion for helping people. I really do. So you got it. Don't worry, Bray. These guys come on and get their little 2 seconds of fame. Makes them feel better. It makes them feel better about themselves, I guess, if their life's not going anywhere. I don't know. I've never had anybody come on any of my lives after I go check out who they are, after I go check out their profiles and see what these people do. I guarantee you a lot of these people are not doing better than me in life, and they're stressed out about something, and they have to come on to other people's shit and talk shit. But whatever. It's all good. I don't care. Sometimes some of those haters stay on here and end up realizing I might have something to share of value, and they go, fuck, maybe I ought to come listen to this guy and shut my mouth. That happens too. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah, facts. Let's just figure that we can all do this, you guys. Just like you learned how to drive a car. Just like how we all learned how to drive a car when we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We were scared. We were nervous. We needed an instructor. We needed a dad, an uncle, a grandpa, somebody to teach us, somebody to take us, somebody to show us. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. Now, all of you just hop in the car brainlessly and don't even think about what the hell you're doing. You just hop in and it all works, right? Car starts, gets put in drive, reverse, whatever it may be, and you're out. Peeling down the street. Parallel parking, it's a breeze. Wasn't before when you first did it, I'll tell you that. So you guys are understanding the point. If I can learn it, if you can learn how to drive a car, ride a bike, do your current job, whatever the hell you're doing now as an employee of somewhere, you had to learn all this stuff. Get off my cursing kick, but you had to learn all this stuff. And you weren't good at it at first, were you? So in that case, what prevents you from thinking you couldn't be good at real estate investing? What makes you think you couldn't be good at house flipping, syndicating, buying apartments, development, investing in land, buying mortgage notes? Why can't you be good at that, huh? I bet at first it's weird. I bet at first you don't know how what knob does what. I bet at first you don't know how to adjust the mirrors or all that stuff. I bet it's all weird. But you get around people that know how to do it. You get around the grandpa, the uncle, the mentor that put you in the car, teach you how the shit goes, watch you practice it in a safe environment, and get good at it and get comfortable with it. And before not, you're driving and everything's freaking second nature. How come you guys, when we get to be adults, we forget that that's how learning happens? That's how we get good at shit. By trying, absorbing, asking questions, learning, stepping outside our comfort zone, getting around people that know more than us, teach us, and then bang. All of a sudden, you too are a fellow expert. Isn't that how life goes? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, Loin. We have a program. There's other mentors that have programs. Look, that may be investing in yourself is the most important possible thing that pays more than any other investment, guys. You want to talk about cryptocurrency? You want to talk about Bitcoin? You want to talk about mortgage note investing, real estate investing, and all this stuff? Damn right, an investment in yourself pays far more dividend than any other physical investment. So invest in yourself. We shouted out some books earlier, like the normal ones people are used to: Cash Flow Quadrant, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon. Great books. But you guys can also go specialty style, right? Go get that book by Jimmy Napier called Invest in Debt. And Invest in Debt shows you the paper side of the game, like what I do, right? But it's all learnable. That's the good news. That's the great news. All of it is learnable. Sometimes it just takes the right mentor in your life to switch things up. Who played sports and can attribute how good they did back in the day at some type of sport because you had a badass coach? Somebody that was there to watch you from a third-party standpoint. Somebody who was there to make sure that you were doing the right things, make sure you didn't make the silly mistakes, and hone you in and make you practice until you became a badass at baseball, football, track, springboard diving. But you could look back and you could attribute a lot of your success to the coach. And if you would have had a shitty coach, how many of you guys can go back and attribute some of the best classes you had in high school or college or whatever it was, right? Some of the best classes you enjoyed going to that class. Not necessarily because of the subject matter, but because the teacher was just a badass teacher. You got a badass coach, you had a badass mentor, you had a badass parent in your life, you had a badass grandparent, family member, you had a teacher, you had who knows what. But all these people have taught you lessons, and all these people have made you who you are today. Nothing that you learned, generally, nothing that we learned was on our own. People on this call didn't invent much, okay? We learned it from other people that had already done it. Yes, dad bod. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Pa, 46-year-old dad bod. Definitely not a fitness influencer, as you guys can see. No, I just try to motivate people to get in their best physical shape they can get in for themselves, not to have comparitis and get that disease trying to compare. If I try to compare myself to fitness influencers on steroids, I'm going down the wrong path, okay? But I was fat and had a real dad bod 2 years ago. So, any progress is good progress. Let's go. Yeah. Oh, you should have seen my beer belly, right? Like, I'm finally showing six packs trying to come through here. I still have this little layer of fat I need to get rid of. Guys, my belly was like protruding 6 or 8 inches, guys. I had a big beer belly. My muscles were gone. I had zero. I did have the dad bod. I had the 50-year-old dad bod for a while. 2 years ago, I decided, fuck that. I'm sick of that. I said, I want to feel confident with my shirt off at the beach again, at least. I don't, you know? But I'm not joining any bodybuilding competitions or anything like that. I need to start on my fat bod. All you got to do is start, brother. All you got to do is start. That's half the battle. So I built this little home gym in like half of my garage. It's the tiniest little spot, like 10 feet by 12 feet area. I got a bench, I got some dumbbells, I got some plates, and I put this little Makolo rack that cost me $600 on the wall, which allows me to get these pulleys going. And I just started working out 5 days a week 2 years ago, man. And it wasn't to be a buff guy or be some sort of fitness influencer or, come out and say, guys, I did my 10-year stint, my 15-year stint in prison, and now I'm here to motivate you to do good. Get out of here. Get out of here. I was a super athlete back in the day, and then I went down the wrong path and got fat and went to alcohol and no sleep and bad habits and horrible diets. And then I decided 2 years ago I've had enough of that. So I quit the alcohol. I started working out 5 days a week in my home gym, and I started to switch things up. So starting is half the battle. Staying consistent becomes the hard part, but tell me, now it feels off after you make things a habit. Now it feels off for me not to work out. When I don't work out, I don't get those endorphins, and I go, oh man, I'm sad I missed my workout. So it's good all the way around. But I appreciate that, man. No, I've been working on it. I've been working on it, man. It's a long haul, guys. It's a long haul. But that's the thing, is that if you're not like really looking for those results, man, I'm just looking to try to get in the best shape I can be in for me, and that's all we can do for ourselves. And I do look a shitload better than I did 2 years ago. There's zero doubt. But I also have a hell of a lot of work to do to get where I want to be. Okay? So sometimes we need to go ahead and take a second to give ourselves credit for what we've done. Stop and give yourself some credit for what you have accomplished, for the things you have overcome, for the progress you have made. Sometimes we forget to give ourselves a little bit of credit for what we've done and where we've come from. And then we are always looking at this gap. There's, of course, always somewhere better. There's somewhere better where we want to be in life, whether it's physical fitness, financial setup, whatever. There's always someplace better we could be. But don't always judge that gap, guys. And that's another book to read, by the way. The Gap, Not the Gain. Or The Gain, Not the Gap. The Gap, Not the Gain. Dan Kennedy book. But it's another good book, right? So let's be weary that, guys, we need to give ourselves some pats on the back sometimes. We need to give ourselves some credit how far we've come, the things we've overcome, and how well we've done with things in life, and say, good for you, man. But also then there's the gap of where you want to get to, and we're always chasing that. It's okay. So with me and my physical fitness, I have flipped it entirely upside down. I had zero muscles, guys. My muscles were gone, no veins showing through. My body fat percentage was huge and high. I had the biggest beer belly you wouldn't imagine. And this was only 2 years ago, and it was really bad, guys. And I just had to flip it upside down. And you could do the same thing. So I'm living proof, guys, that within a few short years' time, okay? Let me say, within a few short years' time, I'm living proof that you can change completely and entirely, physically or financially, if you just put your mind to it and start creating some consistency and just get it done, guys. It's not a magic formula. It's not a magic formula, right? You know what somebody may say to me? Can I relate this to you guys? Somebody may say to me, boy, I would love to start working out, but all those weights and the dumbbells and what bars to use and that kind of stuff confuses me. So, nah,
That seems above my head, above my pay grade, right? Lifting weights, man, don't you have to use pulley machines and know what weight to put on and know what weight of dumbbells to use and how to hold your arm in the right position when you're doing some of these exercises? Oh man, that's too much for me mentally. I can't handle all that, so I'm just not going to do that. Isn't that the same damn thing with like financial? You know how many people say like that, right? Like, oh man, I don't know. I don't want to get into that because I'm not going to understand all that wild jargon or that lingo. Or I'm not going to get into that because, boy, I don't know math very well. I'm not very good at math, and it seems like it's going to require a lot of math. And, oh, you know, I'm not. Guys, we can give excuses to ourselves all goddamn day. Ah, yes. The Carter Lee says, yep, feel that in the past, that might have been a valid excuse. I don't even think back then it was a valid excuse. He said, but there's so many free apps and websites and stuff like that for information today. So it's easy to get over the hurdles of, boy, I don't know much about that, right? You're so correct, right? Today is the easiest time, and I hate to say this could be a controversial subject. Can you tell me if you agree with me or not? I'm curious to see if you agree. Tell me if you agree with this or not. Today's day and age with social media, okay? Today's day and age with social media, smartphone technology, websites, funnels, landing pages, YouTube videos, Chat GPT. Would you guys tend to say that right now in today's day and age is the easiest time to get rich or not? I say right now is the easiest time in human history to get rich. So if that's just my opinion. It could be an unpopular opinion, but I think that today is the easiest time ever in human history to get rich. So those of us that are not willing to try, those of us that are not willing to learn something new, because you don't know what you don't know. That's fair to say. Okay? You don't know what you don't know. We all got a lot to learn. Most of us are just going to run that 40-40 plan, work 40 years of our lives, 40 hours a week. Yeah, 100%, right, Carter Lee? It's the easiest time to make money, guys. And by the way, money's fake. They're just printing it. It's paper. It's monopoly money. And a lot of us are sitting around here saying, oh, I don't have any of that. If you thought of money right now as monopoly money from the game, wouldn't we make it a game? A fun game to try to enjoy getting some of it? It's just monopoly money. It's printed paper. It's not backed by gold. It's fiat currency. It's in its last bit of its life cycle. They're about to great reset this shit in 2030, bro. The banking system's going digital. Between now and 2030 is a really good time to get your shit together, bros. Damn. I don't know what else to tell you. Now's the time to read the books. Now's the time to get the mentor. Now's the time to invest in yourself. Now's the time to make changes. Now's the time to do something. Okay? And for somebody that would come on here and say that this is not very serious, that's when I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? This is of the utmost seriousness for all of us, guys. We only have, I think, a few more years where it's going to be the easiest time in American history, in world history, for us all to get rich, to become wealthy, to become financially free. So, Bree, don't type. If you're driving, don't type, man. I don't want people typing and stuff while they're driving. I know you'll get the point here, and I know you're listening in, but that's the point. How can we be so hard-headed and so self-centered to think that, number one, we know everything already? Bullshit. Number two, there's not mentors out there that can really elevate how quickly we can succeed at this. That's true. There are mentors out there that will help you elevate your shit quickly. How come we're afraid to invest in ourselves when we invest in everybody else's bullshit? We invest in car payments, we invest in rent and house payments, we invest in insurance, we invest in Netflix, we invest in Starbucks, we invest in fucking Tesla, we invest in Uber, we invest in the alcoholic beverage companies, we invest in the nicotine companies, we invest all of our hard-earned money in all this shit, but people aren't willing to invest in themselves to quickly, within a few years, completely drastically change their lives and their financial future. It's just crazy to me, right? We've just gotten stuffed in this brainwashed place. So if I can be one's motivation on here, guys, the only reason I want to be able to come live 6:30 to 8 a.m. like this in my garage gym is for two freaking reasons. None of it's for me. I'm not here to show off. I'm not no fitness influencer. I'm not all fully tatted up. You see, I got my old Mercedes Benz right there. It ain't a freaking Ferrari, okay? But I'm just somebody who preaches physical fitness, being in the best physical shape you can be in, no matter what age you're at or where you're starting from. It's just something to strive for. And also financial fitness, man. How come we're not getting our asses in shape financially? Because we don't know, because we're scared, because we don't think we can, because, I mean, stop. These are all excuses, yeah? A portfolio of stocks here, Netflix stocks, Uber stocks, Google stocks, and Waymo. Bam, that's a nice little portfolio there. I like that. For those of you guys that don't know about the Waymos yet, right? Waymos are the Ubers that don't have drivers. Those are awesome. So like they have them in Arizona. I was in Arizona with my buddies and they're like, should we get a Waymo? And I'm like, hell no, I'll get an Uber. But yeah, dude, Waymo's a trip. So you order a ride on your phone and the car comes to pick you up and there's nobody in there driving. It's autonomous driving vehicle. Pretty sick. Pretty damn cool. But yeah, guys, I mean, look. And how about this? Can we stop saying that we're so paycheck to paycheck that we can't invest any of our money? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop bringing your lifestyle up every time you get a damn pay raise, okay? Start investing some money, guys. Can you take 10% of your money and invest it? Please do. Yes, we got somebody in from Paris. That is epic, man. Looking out the window into the sea from San Francisco. Beautiful. Yep. It is cold in some places around here. Yep. And isn't that funny though, Alvin, that some people have a portfolio? It's not stocks, but they have the portfolio, right? The Netflix, the Uber, the Starbucks. You own that, or you invest in those companies, but you don't own any of them. Does that make sense? Yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. All right. So get a couple of curls in and answer a couple last questions and we'll be done with it because I get to talking a lot with you guys and it's great, but I also miss some of my workout and I don't work out as intensely as I should be for me. So I'm going to finish up with some curls while I can see the screen here. We're going to do some curls, get those biceps warmed up, and we're going to do some more bicep stuff after I get off of this. But what is the easiest tip, the Carter Lee? What's 3 easy tips to start working towards financial freedom and not some Dave Ramsey bullshit? Oh, I love that, man. Oh, Carter, that's fantastic, bro. I agree. The Dave Ramsey bullshit, right? And mind you guys, Dave Ramsey, look, there's got to be education for the masses, okay? Do we understand that there's got to be education available for the masses? There's got to be path of least resistance. People that are never going to take the time to get real financial intelligence, they need to listen to a stockbroker, a financial advisor, a CPA, put their money in things that are easy, like through a Robinhood account. They can look at their stocks on their phone and so forth, and it doesn't require any really intelligence or learning anything new, yeah? So most people will do that. But those of us that will look at alternative ways, they call it alternative investments outside of the stock market, meaning a Series 6 or a Series stockbroker cannot sell these type of investments to their clients because they don't know how to get paid their fees and commissions because they're not feeable and commissionable items through the SEC and those kinds of things. So their clients don't have access to these kinds of investments. But what are the 3 ways to start working towards financial freedom? Number 1, pick an asset class that you think you'd be wanting to become an expert at. That's number 1. Pick your lane, guys. There's wholesaling. There's syndicating. There's sub 2. There's, owning rental properties just as a landlord. There's multifamily. There's land investing. There's the paper side of real estate and buying notes like I do. So there's all these different lanes you can take to get to financial freedom. So my thing is to find out which lane you think that you would actually have fun doing and fun pursuing, okay? First step. Second step, once you picked a lane, you have to get expertise to a high level. I didn't say experience. Expertise and experience are 2 different things, am I right? So you must get a mentor. You must join a program. You must read the books. You must ask the questions. You must take the notes, and you must get your expertise level up to a certain point, okay? Because expertise holds a lot of value. And oftentimes, true expertise is far more valuable than the money, okay? So that's one. One is pick your lane and find something that you're going to enjoy. Two is bring your expertise level however you can. YouTube videos, podcasts, paid mentorship, reading the books, taking the notes, showing up, and really paying attention to getting comfortable with all the expertise in that asset class. And then number three is to take action. And don't just sit there with all this newfound knowledge and all these great new abilities that you didn't have before and do nothing with them. You have to actually go out there and do, okay? So that would be 3 easy steps to financial freedom in my opinion, man. Pick a lane. I happen to choose the paper side of real estate investing because when I compared mortgage note investing with a lot of the other popular real estate related endeavors, bar none, I found note investing to be unfairly better than the rest of them. So I chose notes. What I did, guys, is I made a huge commitment. So if you want to talk about a commitment and taking a risk, here you go. I had a $120,000 a year sales management job. I owned my house up in Escondido, California that I had purchased in 2009, right at the bottom of the market. I had just started a family. I had a baby, 6-month-old. And here's what I did. I quit my job. I handed in the keys to my office to the boss. I sold my house. I moved to start renting a house that was about 5 minutes away from my potential mentor where he lived. I got us an office that was only about 250, 300 square feet. I put 2 desks on opposing walls in this office, and I called my mentor on the phone and I said, hey, I'm committed. I burnt all the bridges. I'm here. Will you teach me? And I started working for about 6 months in this office with yellow pad and pen. There was no coaching program. There was no book that he had written. I had to absorb from this gentleman. That's what I did to get into all this. I made a huge risk, okay? But you got to sometimes take the risk. You got to sometimes trust yourself. You got to sometimes believe that if you can learn how to drive a goddamn car, then you can learn how to either flip a house, syndicate, raise capital, do things. You can get your expertise up to a certain level in a certain asset class, and you can change your life completely. Remember, your expertise becomes your value. It's not the money you've got, guys. Can I give it to you like this? What's up? Hey, Big Arms. I love that name. I wish I had big arms, man. I'm working on it. Hey, bigger than they were 2 years ago. Not as big as I want them to be. I love that. I love that. Big Arms. What's up, dude? Expertise is your value. If you get good at something and you can really claim that you are an expert and prove it, there will be people that invest with you, okay? If you're a trustworthy individual, you can speak clearly to communicate a point to somebody. If you get, flex my arms, nah, bro. I'm not a fitness influencer or anything, man. I'm just an old man. I'm just an old man here in the garage giving financial intelligence value while I try to get my ass in shape, but I appreciate the compliments. They're better than they were, man. A while back, about 2 years ago, guys, my beer belly was out to here. My habits were terrible. My muscles were gone. I had zero physique. And in 2 years, I was able to flip it around, flip it upside down. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate any compliments, guys. It really feels good because, you know, when you start to turn your life around, it's a very hard struggle. Thank you. I appreciate you guys, bro. I appreciate you guys, bro. Yep. I am 46 years old. Yeah, I am 46. So if you're older than 46, you are older than I am for sure. Yep. But I appreciate the compliments, guys. It was a big deal for me. I was at the point where I didn't even want to take my shirt off, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want to take my shirt off at the pool or the beach, and I was never that guy. I was really fit when I was younger guy, you know? But when you go down the wrong path, physically and with your health, and you go down the wrong path for like a good 20 years straight, you know? For 20 years straight, I was trying to treat my body as bad as I possibly could, man. Shit. alcohol, drugs, the wrong food, partying, staying up late. I mean, just horrible habits, yeah? And it created a really bad spot for me. I will say that 20 years, I really worked hard to get myself in the worst physical shape I could possibly be in. And about 2 years ago, I got fed up with it. And I said, that's it. I'm gonna make a change. So how many of you guys can do that, huh? How many of you guys can do that? If you have something in your life and you would like it to change, okay? If your physical body is not where you want it to be, we have the ability to change it on purpose. If your financial life is not where you want it to be, we have the ability to change that on purpose. No, thank you guys. I appreciate that. You're 6'2", 235. That's a big dog right there, man. That's a big dog. Am I on TRT? I'm on nothing like that, you guys. I'm all totally natural. That's why, I mean, I probably would be more jacked. I probably could be deemed a jacked, buff fitness influencer guy if I was on all that shit. Get the TRT, a couple other pumps right here in the booty cheek. Yeah, you know, all the test and trin and, nah, I'm not on any of that shit. What I do is I eat a high protein, low carb diet. Lately, I haven't been so good at the low carbs, but I try to eat high protein, low carb diet. The only supplements I take are creatine, AG1, creatine, and protein powder. That's it. Shots fired at fitness influencers. Nah, dude, I'm jealous of them. I appreciate them, dude. It's just that that's not my career, and I'm not trying to be a fitness influencer, and so therefore I'm not trying to compare my body or my physique to them because I'd probably have to get on some of them steroids. Probably have to get on some of that stuff to keep up with those guys, and that's not my point. I like to help people financially. I believe that people need to be physically fit. Yes, of course. My channel is about physical and financial fitness because both of them go together. But normally I'm just working out in here, and if people want to work out with me in the mornings or I can motivate people to get in their best shape ever, fantastic. But I'm usually talking about financial stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not on the gear. Nope. Not on the gear at all. Not on the gear. I never liked gear, as a matter of fact. So if you guys are talking about drug use, any type of uppers like that, because you guys can see I'm already a very hyper person. So uppers, never my deal. So somebody could give me some cocaine, some meth, or whatever, and I'd be like, nah, thanks. All good. I'd rather smoke a doob with a buddy than I would get all tweaked out on that shit. But no, totally natural, y'all. I love it. Comedy villain. Well, you do bring some good comedy to the show, so I like that, brother. That winning wave is really hot for you, dude. I don't know what you're talking about, Loin. I'm sorry. But I don't know. Some people have told me, hey, dude, you should do this cycle with us. You should start injecting this shit into your fucking butt, and oh, you're going to see some results. I'm like, bro, look, let me tell you something, okay? I was fat and out of shape. I was fat and out of shape and had a beer belly and had zero muscles and looked like shit and felt like shit 2 years ago. And I haven't taken shit. I haven't done any TRT or any steroids. Are you kidding me, dude? Nah, bro. You know, it's all about eating clean, drinking clean water, staying away from stupid habits, alcohol, and like actually staying committed to actually working out 5 days a week. Even if you don't work out hard, dude. But that commitment over a 2-year time period will chisel that fat right the hell off of you. I don't care if you're male or female. You know what I'm saying? You put a winning combination together of eating healthy, getting proper sleep, and working out 5 days a week, and you cut off the alcohol. I don't care who you are. You will see a drastic change within a year or two time period. And so this has been 2 years, guys, of consistency. It doesn't look like it, I know. Some of you guys are going, well, he needs 2 more years. I get it. And I believe so that I do. But if you're working towards your goals and you're making progress, that's the feel-good part of it. You're not going to feel good about your results. I look way better than I did 2 years ago, and I still think I look like shit. So I got a lot of work to do. But the progress is the win. Seeing change happen is the win. You understanding that if you want your environment to change, you must be the change first. If I want people to respect my physique, I must work first on building one worth respect. If you want people to respect your financial intelligence and maybe invest with you or be a private lender to your real estate investing business, you have to get your expertise buff, okay? You have to get your expertise up to a certain level where you have this easy way to show people or display. Do you guys know when somebody who's super jacked walks into a room, right? When a super jacked guy walks into the room, I always give mad respect. Don't even know the guy yet, but I'm like, damn, that guy's worked on his bod. Look at that, right? He's jacked, right? It's respect. Well, same with wealthy. Everybody always sees the guy with the Lambo or with the nice house, with the pool in the backyard or with whatever, right? And they see that and they go, ooh, that's the end result, right? The jacked guy, it's the end result of what that person has been doing over the last 10 years religiously to get their body to that point. It don't happen overnight. So it's always mad respect, guys. When you see somebody that's really buff, they spend a lot of time to achieve that. When you see somebody that's wealthy, they probably spend a lot of time to achieve that. Both are achievable for all people, no matter where you're at, no matter where you're starting from, physically or financially, no matter what job you have now, none of that fucking matters. It's all temporary. So we can change this shit up. We can change this shit up. So if you want to be in the best physical shape you can be in, hopefully I can help motivate you to do that. If you can be in the best financial shape you could possibly be in, hopefully I can motivate you to do that. I've done both. I've been able to flip my life around completely and drastically, financially and physically, in a few short years' time. So why wouldn't I be somebody, at least because I'm no smarter than you, I'm not Harvard educated, I'm no fitness influencer, I don't even go to the gym. Ah, shit. So if I'm not the smartest guy in the room, for sure, I'm not Harvard educated, for sure. I was in sales and sales management for a long time. You know, I was fat, I was out of shape, I had a beer belly, my habits were shit. Look, guys, I was like, okay, forget about it. I'm done with this shit. I'm not going to do the 40-40 plan. I don't want to spend 40 years of my life, 40 hours a week working for somebody else. I'm sick of it. I want to make a change. I'm sick of having a beer belly, being out of shape, not having energy, sleeping in the mornings, not being, accountable to myself. I was sick of it. I had enough. And that's what it takes sometimes is you with inside your own heart. You'll get that burn inside you. No matter what anybody has ever said in your past, people tried to motivate you. Don't matter. It'll be inside you, that little flick, the flame, and it's burning. And that'll be, I want to get better. I'm sick of where I'm at, and I'm willing to make a change, try hard, learn new things, get a mentor, whatever it may be. But I'm ready to change this shit up and flip life upside down. And then we can all do it. We all have the ability to get better physically or financially. What is your regimen? No, I walk twice a week, golf. So when people are talking about getting steps in, if you look up how many miles do you walk, when you walk an 18-hole golf course? You just ran the channel through AI. All right. I don't know what that means. Cool. So I walk 18 holes of golf twice a week. So that's probably anywhere between 5 and 6 miles, maybe 5 miles or so, 5 or 6 miles. So I walk 5 or 6 miles up and down hills and terrain, of course. Walk 5 or 6 miles twice a week. Play golf. That's a sport I like to play. And then weightlifting and then cardio. I do a little bit of cardio, not a lot because my right knee is horrible. I wish I could run, but I can't run on the streets anymore, go for jogs because my right knee is toast. I have 3 surgeries on it and it's just bone on bone. So I can't do that kind of explosive stuff anymore, unfortunately. So I'll do a lot of things like maybe just jump rope. And I have this thing back here, guys, on the other side of this little home gym. It's kind of hidden right now because I sort of clear the area out here for us in the mornings where I'm doing sort of the weightlifting. But we have one of those Peloton bikes, yeah? So we've got a Peloton bike back here, exercise ball, Peloton bike, another separate bench and all that stuff. And then over here is that little Makolo machine, right? There's a little Makolo machine. Bought that thing straight off of Amazon. What's up? It got delivered. You put it together, screw it to the wall. And those sides, guys, fold up right there. So if you don't want it to be If you don't want to be fully extended like that, it folds all close against the wall. So it's just a little tiny home gym setup. I got benches, dumbbells, weights. What about Torrey Pines, man? I love Torrey Pines. I love Torrey Pines. A beautiful golf course, man. Beautiful views. Love playing it. But so, guys, I'm going to get back to my workout. I know you guys have other things to do than listen to me blab, but, you know, it's about trying to get in our best physical shape and our best financial shape that we can be in from where we're starting at. That's the game we need to play. We aren't in a race against anybody else. I hope that we start to really understand and believe that. The social media, the reality TV, all this bullshit has got us in this envy mode of chasing someone else's lifestyle or someone else's life. Let's figure that. Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. You don't got to type in all capitals, man. Stop yelling at me. Stop yelling at me, bro. Damn, dude. All right. So anyways, guys, I'm getting yelled at all caps in my chat here. Must be a new viewer, but go check out my content and you'll see, guys. We're just here to offer value to each other. I try to motivate people to get in their best physical fitness shape ever, or their best financial shape ever, about more energy for yourself, more energy for your family, looking better, feeling more confident. And the other part of that, guys, is let's bump up our financial fitness, guys. Let's start to create bits of passive cash flow that can hopefully soon set us financially free. That's what we're here for, 6:30 to 8 a.m. Pacific time. We ran over a little bit. I'm going to get back to my workout. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow, 6:30.